We were angry about certain developments and we were disturbed about certain developments. But then we decided to do something about it and started calling our friends that let's meet together. It's high time that we start discussing and defending science in the country and scientific method in the country. वो एक शेर है ना, मैं अकेला ही चला था जाने में मंजिल मगर लोग साथ आते गए और कारवां बनता गया. Everybody joined and encouraged us to hold a public meeting, first in Delhi. Our idea was to hold similar meetings across the country, wherever we can find resources, and encourage the young ones to hold similar meetings in smaller groups. And we are still discussing. Professor Arvind told me that he is going to have a similar meeting or conference in his university. Professor Ganesh Devi is organizing one. There are friends sitting there in the audience who have offered to organize one in Hyderabad. And we are also planning to have one in Jaipur. So that is how Karma is getting formed. This meeting could be made possible only and only with the support of our friends. You need to have some money. Booking the hall, organizing tea. But the major problem was that how do you support travel of our friends who are not in Delhi? And I am so proud to have such friends who supported their own travel and came here. I think applause is due. Of course, there couldn't be any government support for such a meeting. Our friend Santosh Paul came forward. Dr. Harsh contributed majorly. These two friends said that we'll bear the cost. I think we must applaud them. We must clap for them as well. Anjali Hegde, Shabnam Hashmi, Hartosh is sitting there. Radhika, I can't see her. Anyway, their unconditional support made us organize this meeting. Before I call upon the first speaker today, let me also say something about what is, in my opinion, science. In my opinion, there are two major ways of trying to find truth or reality, be it material reality or be it social reality. One of them could be put probably in one's bigger set, which Dhruv gave a phrase called extra science. Basically, what do we mean by extra science is a religious way of looking, how religions looked at the reality. And the other is science. And I have tried to think about what is the difference, major difference between the two. In my opinion, there are many differences between the two. How do they look at reality? But I'll talk only about two differences here. Science is ever-expanding knowledge, whereas religion is frozen in time. Which also means that whatever becomes old and irrelevant in science is thrown in the dustbin of history. Whereas religion keeps on going back towards whatever has been said in the olden days. And that is the truth that remains for eternity. The other major, let's take one example, that if you fall ill and if you have probably cancer, then anybody would advise you to go to the institute which has latest knowledge. If you have some problem in the spine, then you go to Dr. Harsha probably. And if you have some problem somewhere in veins, then you consult Dr. Satvik. Which means that we have confidence in them because they have the latest knowledge. Whatever knowledge has been created by scientific endeavor, they are repository of latest knowledge. Whereas in religion, if somebody falls ill and you are religious, then you tell him, go back to the oldest temple, go back to the oldest dargah, and go back to the oldest scriptures, chant something which has been said or written thousands of years back. The other major difference which I would like to point out is that science cannot progress unless and until new generation challenges the old one. It is continuous challenging of what has been said in science, what has been concluded in science, that science progresses. Which also means that in science, you always have disagreements from the past. And this clash never ever results into violence. There is no example in history probably of somebody who is upholder of Newtonian physics fought and killed someone who propagates Einstein's theory. So there is no example of that. Whereas in extra science, things are not resolved by negotiation, by talking, by experimentation, by validation, etc., etc. And therefore, when any notion in extra science is challenged, then there is a crisis. It leads to a major crisis within that paradigm of extra science. Whereas in science, when somebody proves a theory or a conclusion of a predecessor, we celebrate. We honor that person. We accept it after validation, and it goes through a process. But once it is accepted by the scientific community, then we celebrate. And we give Nobel Prize to those who make major contribution and latest major contribution. I think I'll stop here, and I'm very certain that this galaxy of very prominent experts would deal with similar questions in a much more lucid manner than I could express myself.